Hello and welcome back to another Saviors of Uldum card review. This episode's a little bit more low-tech because the previous recording, it took about 2 hours to render that 10-minute video. My computer is about to die. It's making a bunch of noise just recording this video here, so I'm keeping it low-tech from here on out. I hope you guys don't mind. Let's get on with the cards. First up is Desert Obelisk, 5 mana, 0/5 neutral minion, where if you control 3 of these at the end of your turn, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. I was excited because of the stat line. I was like, oh shit, it's an egg. How is this supposed to be good? The reward is terrible. Okay, so you need to play a Desert Obelisk. You can play another one if you want. They're 5 mana for 0/5 terrible stats, of course. Maybe you summon another one or you faceless it. It's going to be difficult to get 3 out on the board, but if you get 3 or more, then each are going to deal 5 damage to a random enemy. But if your opponent just has like a couple of minions out on the board, rarely you'll be able to deal 15 or more damage to their face. It's like, is Meatwagon still in the game? Is it? It's not like these are going to stick out on the board, and your opponent can just play minions to basically counter this. I'm excited to see the Reddit videos, but this card sucks. Next up is Evil Recruiter, 3 mana 3/3 Warlock minion with the battlecry, destroy a friendly lackey to summon a 5/5 demon. Like I said, this episode's real low tech, but as you can see, currently Warlock's only way of getting lackeys is with Evil Genius or with the Evil Cable Rat, which actually aren't terrible options, especially in a zoo lock where you can use Evil Genius on a Scarab Egg and get a wider board. So I think it's possible for Warlock to get a lackey in an aggro, zoo, or tempo deck, but the main issue with this card is that you need to get the lackey before you play this, because if you play this without the battlecry and it's just a 3 mana 3/3, it's pretty trash. It's not the worst thing possible, but it's not a card you really want to play, especially if you're playing an aggressive deck like Zoolock, which wants to get the most value out of its mana in the early game. If you're able to get a lackey, let's say by turn 3, then on turn 4 you can play a lackey and then play Evil Recruiter and destroy that lackey, and essentially for 4 mana you got 8/8 in stats, which is pretty good. It's kind of in line with the Sea Giant stats if you have a pretty wide board, but I don't know, man. I think if Warlock gets more ways of obtaining lackeys, this could see play, but for right now I think it's just too clunky for this card to work. Next up is Rift Cleaver, 6 mana 7/5 Warlock Demon. With the battlecry, destroy a minion and your hero takes damage equal to its health. It's not quite as good as if this was a 6/6. I think that would be a better stat line because that's really hard to get rid of. The battlecry itself is pretty powerful. Being able to destroy a minion is always useful, so in a control Warlock I think this would make sense. I just don't know how much heal Warlock really has, and if you're going to use this battlecry, you're probably going to do it on a big minion. While this would be nice, I just don't think there's even a deck for it. And also the fact that it costs 6 mana as a single target removal is a little tough as well. If a control Warlock came to fruition and had enough cards to see play in the meta, then I think Rift Cleaver could find a place in that deck, but it would be one of the weaker cards, so I doubt it's going to actually see play. Next up is Bloodsworn Mercenary, 3 mana 3/3 warrior minion with the battlecry, choose a damaged friendly minion and summon a copy of it. Okay, well, I mean, going back to the Desert Obelisk, that's one of your options, I guess. I was always enticed by that warrior spell that copied all of your damaged minions. They've always gone with that damaged minion archetype, whether it's friendly minions or enemy minions. But I think this is finally the first example of a really powerful card. Any big minion that just survives out on the board, you can trade it into a small minion, and then you'll be able to play Bloodsworn Mercenary and gain an extra copy. If it has a death rattle or an end of turn effect, then basically you're going to be able to double it with this card. Maybe even more important is that it's going to require enemies to deal with your big minions right away, because if you're able to damage them and then summon another copy, then they have to deal with another copy of that minion. Yeah, this is probably the best card I've seen so far in the set. It's good. It's good. Well, let's see if Fishflinger will outdo that last card. 2 mana 3/2 neutral Murloc. With the battlecry, add a random Murloc to each player's hand. 2 mana 3/2 isn't a great stat line. It doesn't cost a lot to get rid of it. I love adding a random Murloc to each player's hand. You can make your opponent overdraw. You can put a Murloc in their hand, and instead of them drawing their Hagatha or Dr. Boom hero cards. They just have like a 1/1 Murloc instead, and I think that's pretty funny. I really like this Battlecry though, because if you're playing a Murloc deck, then this Battlecry is mainly going to benefit you. Unfortunately, I think the stat line is just too poor for this card to actually see play. But I think randomly getting this Murloc off of the other ways you can get random Murlocs, I think it's going to be fun to play. Well, here's some more Murlocs. Tip the Scales. 8 mana Paladin card. Summon 7 Murlocs from your deck. Alright, so they're bringing back Anything Can Happen, where you resummon 7 Murlocs that died this game. Unfortunately for Tip the Scales, it summons the 7 Murlocs from your deck, so you can't draw these Murlocs before you play Tip the Scales, and that's going to make it really hard to get any sort of OTK like the one Anything Can Happen used. So as cool as it would be to get 7 Murlocs out on the board from your deck, you need to run a lot of Murlocs in your deck in order to get to, turn 8, and then have enough Murlocs to fill the board up again. Another issue is that Paladin doesn't really have much of an incentive to get a wide board. There's only 1 Murloc with charge, and if your opponent by some miracle doesn't clear them, then you don't really have much of a way to take advantage of them. The fact that this isn't resummoning those 7 Murlocs, and the fact that you actually have to have Murlocs in your deck, I think that means this card isn't really going to see a ton of play. Next up is Anka the Buried. 5 mana, 5/5, legendary for Rogue with the Battlecry. Change each Death Rattle minion in your hand into a 1/1 that costs 1. Oh, this is cool. First of all, you gotta think Mecca Thune Rogue, right? Because you can change Mecca Thune into a 1 mana 1/1. That makes it a Mecca Thune deck instantly. That's kind of scary because Rogue does have a ton of draw. Oh my god, I'm scared now. Oh no. I mean, you can look at the other Death Rattle cards, like I guess there's some combos you could probably be able to do, but no, ultimately Mecca Thune just becomes the answer. You make a Gadget Sand deck, you put sprints in there, you put a bunch of cheap spells, then you make sure you draw Mecca Thune, get Anka the Buried out on the board, and then by the end of the game all you have to do is just play that 1 mana 1/1 Mecca Thune and then backstab it and you win. Yeah, this completely changes everything. This is a super easy way to get a Mecca Thune deck. Say hello to Mecca Thune Rogue. Bold statement, but I think Mecca Thune Rogue is going to be tier 1 on day 1 of the expansion, just because it's one of those like easy decks that you can put together and it's instantly gonna work. Hopefully you get this card and maybe they're gonna nerf it, because or maybe they'll nerf Mecca Thune, because I think that's gonna kind of dominate the meta. Let's see. I think it will be a fine deck. It's gonna get boring and it's gonna be kind of annoying to try to counter on the ladder, so I'll get to Legend with this though. That'll be an experience. Next up is Arcane Flack Mage, I think. 2 mana, 3/2 mage minion. After you play a secret, deal 2 damage to all enemies. This is a cool idea for a card. Again, the problem is the stat line is a 2 mana 3/2. I only see this going off once with the secret, and I'm thinking like even in a secret mage, this would be a tough card to play. Probably not going to see much play. Well, hey, maybe Secret Mage is getting some more pieces. We have Cloudprints, 5 mana 4/4, Mage Elemental with the Battlecry. If you control a secret, deal 6 damage. Being able to deal 6 damage is really nice. It would cost 8 mana if you wanted to play the secret and this on the same turn, but I think there are enough decent mage secrets that would be able to last out on the board without being triggered. So you could play a secret one turn and then probably be able to play Cloudprints the next. Unless there's some sort of secret mage, I don't think this is really going to see play. So far I've not been convinced, so maybe not this expansion, maybe the next. We'll have to see. Next up is Splitting Axe. 4 mana, 3/2, Shaman Weapon. With the Battlecry, summon copies of your totems. Is Totem Shaman making a return? I'm not really sure. What's nice about this is it's not just your basic totems. Yeah, okay, so I mean right now, there aren't a ton of totems in the game. Maybe they'll release some pretty soon here. And you got Totem Crusher, which is nice, I guess. It's a cool idea for a weapon, I think. You just need more totems in the game in order for this to actually get value. So hopefully they release like a cool totem, and comboing it with Splitting Axe is gonna be fun. Next up is Whirl Kick Master. 2 mana 1/2 rogue card. Whenever you play a combo card, add a random combo card to your hand. Combo cards are pretty good. The one issue though is that this pool is very varied in value. Very varied in value. That's a terrible sentence. You got Cold Blood, Eviscerate, Edwin, Miscreant, SI Agent, maybe even Raiding Party. Those are your good cards. But then like the other 50% of cards are pretty bad. I mean, value is value, so getting any sort of other card after you play a card is pretty good. But what's the advantage of playing Whirlkick Master when instead you could play another Disguised Toast? It's definitely not for the stats, so I think more likely you'll just play good combo cards and Whirlkick Master won't really see a ton of play. I'll make a full 1-hour Minecraft video if this ends up making it in a competitive rogue deck. Next up is Hooked Scimitar. I don't know if I'm saying that right. 3 mana 2/2 weapon with combo, gain +2 attack. Okay, now this could be pretty good. Coining this out on turn 2 is kind of ridiculous. You get a 4/2 weapon right away. They already have the pickaxe, which is really good. At 3 mana, it's pretty easy to combo with, and then being able to instantly deal 4 damage is definitely a reward. I think it's just going to come down to what a tempo rogue needs in order to combat whatever is current in the meta. Right now, they just need to be able to deal a ton of damage, so they bounce cards like Leroy and go face with the pickaxe and upgrade their weapon. This is really good for speeding up. I could totally see this being played, but it depends on the meta and what a tempo rogue needs. Next up is Tortolin Pilgrim. 8 mana 5/5 mage card with the battlecry, discover a copy of a spell in your deck and cast it with random targets. There was a turtle or Tortolin in the game before that like allowed you to discover a spell and cast it randomly, I think. I'm not really sure about that. I mean, looking over here at the mage spells, instantly I look at Luna's Pocket Galaxy, where at 5 mana you could play it on turn 5, but if you end up not drawing the card and it's maybe your only spell in the deck, if you have 2 Tortolin Pilgrims and that spell in your deck and no other spells, then on turn 8, likely you'll have drawn one of those 3 cards, and you'll be able to get it off maybe. I don't know, it's not the most ideal deck. Maybe you can also put Power of Creations in there. It's tough because it does limit what sort of spells you can use. You're probably not going to want to cast a copy of Fireball and deal 6 damage to a random character. For an 8 mana 5/5, you definitely want your spell to be pretty good. So I think unless there's some sort of control mage, control no duplicate mage, or a big spell mage, then I think it's going to be tough for this card to see play. And last up, we have Mogu Cultist. 1 mana 1/1 neutral minion with the battle cry. If your board is full of Mogu Cultists, sacrifice them all and summon Highkeeper Ra. What is this Highkeeper Ra? Oh shit. 10 mana, 10/10. At the end of your turn, deal 20 damage to all enemies. Yes. This is such a meme card. I love it. How do you fill a board of Mogu Cultists? I don't know. Maybe you can shuffle copies in Priest or summon them with spells. I know Paladin has like weird 1 health minion stuff. I don't really know. I'm gonna leave it up to the combo people. As cool as Highkeeper Ra is, because I do love minions that have ridiculous stats like the Ancient One. In this case, it's a 10 mana 20/20. As cool as Highkeeper Ra is, dealing 20 damage to all enemies is not going to kill your opponent if they're at 30 health, so you might have to get them lower before you can make this an OTK. What more is there to say? I think this is a meme card. If you know of a combo where you can get a full board of Mogu Cultists, let me know down below. I think it's going to be an interesting card for sure. I don't think it's going to be competitive, but maybe there's a combo you know of that I haven't seen. I'm excited for this one. A lot of fun cards this episode. Thank you for watching. Again, my computer is on its last breath, so I'm making these videos a little bit more simple so that my computer can actually render them. Thank you all for watching, and until the next video, ta-ta.